This year, I am thankful for good health and Lumi whole body deodorant. Why? Because Lumi is a deo like no other. It was created by an OBGYN who discovered BO isn't just an underarm thing, it's an all over thing. So, she developed a pH optimized deodorant that's clinically proven to block odor everywhere, not just your pits, but your private feet and beyond. Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, two free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. Use code RATCHET15 for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code RATCHET15 at LumiDeodorant.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Have you seen this challenge online? It's called the Breaking My Heart Challenge. And people are posting pictures of their parents from back in the day. And they're like, oh, my mom used to break hearts back in the day. So I wanted to make one of those. So I'm digging through this box of pictures and I'm like, is this really like the best way to organize the family photos in giant boxes in the basement? I found a solution from our friends at Legacy Box. You're going to love Legacy Box. For a limited time only, you can visit legacybox.com/ratchet and save 50%. That's legacybox.com/ratchet to shop 50% off. This sale won't last long. Legacybox.com/ratchet.
This holiday season, Lululemon makes it easy to give a gift that goes beyond the moment they open it. There's the sound of them unboxing super soft Lululemon loungewear. And then, there's the sound of them slipping into deep recovery mode after every workout. With Lululemon, the real gift happens when they're living in it. Open the moment. Shop now at Lululemon.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable. My bad on the delay. Like, this is all me. Davita has been here for the last 5 days. She went back to Ghana yesterday, so we had our final day of gallivanting. As much as she was here for play and for visit, we were also here doing work. We're working on a See Some World Cape Town trip. We have dates in mind. We have a date that the trip goes on sale in mind. Davita hasn't been to South Africa in a very, very long time. And the last time she was here, we were in our cute but kind of broke years. We weren't here together. We were here with the same friend, though. So she needed to experience South Africa with a better budget. So that's what we did the last couple of days. We did afternoon teas, rooftop brunches, and sunset dinners. We had a frolicking, as my friend Cece likes to say. It's her favorite word, frolic culture. We frolicked. We had a wonderful time. I sent her an itinerary a couple weeks ago. This is my dream trip. If I was only coming for 8 to 10 days, this is what I would want to do. And she was like, yes, this sounds amazing. So what dates are you free again? Because I'm coming to do this. Say less, sis. Say less. Her trip also included Gladiator. It's not playing in Ghana. So she landed on, when did she get here? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday night. And so we were at the theater, first showing on Friday to see Gladiator. She loves Denzel like I love Denzel, like my mama loves Denzel, like your mama loves Denzel. Hell, like your grandma loves Denzel. Everybody loves Denzel. I cannot wait for this film to come out and for y'all to see it. I mean, I'm not going to give spoilers on here, but oh my God. Oh my God. You know, America is getting this Denzel film like last. Africa has it. Asia has it. Europe has it. It was produced by an American studio. I don't know what kind of distribution deal they got going on, but America is getting the film like a week after everyone else. I don't understand why. I'd be upset if I was in America. I'd be upset for a lot of reasons if I was in America. I'm coming back though. I should be there for most of 2025, depending on how crazy things get. We'll see. That's a whole nother story for another day. But Denzel has been on this press tour. I am as excited about Denzel's interviews as I am about Denzel's role in the movie. It's very much Oscar worthy, like the critics are saying. But his press tour, he's doing all these interviews And Denzel is solidly A-list. He doesn't have to do a bunch of interviews if he doesn't want to. And the places that he's doing interviews with, and this is no shame and no shade to them, but I just didn't feel like like I'm used to seeing Denzel, if he's going to do an interview, it's going to be an A-list publication, a cover with a seasoned veteran as the writer. But he's been doing seemingly the podcast circuit or smaller publications with lesser known interviewers, which I take no issue with whatsoever, because younger people, greener people have a fresher perspective. They operate outside of the paradigm. To be quite honest, Denzel seems to like them a lot better. He is a notoriously challenging interview. If you think you're going to sit down with Denzel and he's going to talk to you about, I don't know, how he enjoys fame or the stuff that he's bought or the parties he went to or the vacations he had, he's not that. Denzel is very much, and it should be this way, but it's not for a lot of people. Denzel's full-time job is being a Black man in America. He also happens to be a great actor. And when he sits down to do an interview with, and this counts even for this recent round of interviews, he likes to talk about being a Black man in America more than he likes to talk about Hollywood. He's very not impressed by what he does. He did this one interview with a young lady that I've been seeing all over the place. People keep sending it to me, and I'm like, thank you, because I watch it every time. He was telling her about the purpose of life. And he said, for the first third, you learn. For the second third, you earn. And for the last third, you return. I watched the interview and I stopped, paused, started over, watched it all the way again, and then went and wrote it down on a piece of paper. I had to go get my notebook out my bag. Some things you could type in your notes on your phone. Some things you just actually need to just, pick up a pen and like physically write down. But I was like, learn, earn, return. I'm in earning phase. I still feel like I got a lot to learn, but I guess that's the process of life. But the woman who was doing the interview was equally as fascinated by his answer as I was. And I imagine for all the people that sent it to me, like everyone who's seen it is just like, Denzel is a Black father. I mean, he is a Black daddy. He got 4 kids, but he wants to be everybody's daddy at this point, which I was like, I'm going to leave my comments about that elsewhere. We talking about respectable topics at this time. But the woman who was doing the interview, she was so impressed. And she was like, gosh, I want you to be my therapist. And Denzel was like, I already am. Better talk your shit. Big Denzel, not the little one. He amuses me so. We have a bunch of good Black news this week. Beyoncé is performing for Christmas. It's on Netflix. It's during a football game. I just know it's not the Super Bowl because that's not until February. It's in Houston. Don't ask me who's playing. I think the Houston people versus the Baltimore people. I don't watch football. I give 2 shits. There's a Beyoncé performance in the middle of a football game, and it will be streaming live on Netflix. I'm sure my father will watch the game. He will alert me at a 2-minute countdown, at which point I will go sit in front of the really big ass TV in their living room, and I will watch Beyoncé on the Netflix. If Netflix can get their shit right. Because I tuned in for that Tyson Paul. I tuned in for the fight. It aired at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning over here. I was curious. And I've been watching Tyson fights since I was a kid. My dad used to order the fights on pay-per-view, and we would have people over to the house. Everyone be excited about the fight. And then Mike Tyson would knock the person out in like the first round, and my dad would be pissed. But I also remember being a kid, Mike Tyson had knocked out so many people that you just expected him to knock somebody out, like at the latest by the 3rd round, but usually in the first. I remember being a kid and Mike Tyson getting knocked out or getting knocked down at least. Was that Buster Douglas? But I remember like falling on the floor and crying at that time. Tyson was such a cultural icon at that time. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever, but a cultural icon nonetheless. So you got to forgive me if I was like, I got to tune in to watch this Tyson fight. Yes, I realize he is 58. He has no business in a ring, especially with somebody who is 30 years his junior. The whole fight didn't really make sense to me. I just wanted to see like what Mike Tyson was capable of. I'd seen some training footage of him and he looked like Iron Mike Tyson. Like he still looked ferocious. I was like, he gonna beat on that white boy's ass like a rented mule. But didn't, which was actually surprising, but actually shouldn't be surprising because he's 58 after all. Like you can only fight time, but so much. A 58-year-old in great, great shape is never going to be a real competition for, what's Jake Paul, 28, something like that? So when he lost, I was, what's the word? Unsurprised because I watched most of the fight. Like after maybe the second or third round, Tyson looked really slow. And some people were like, he threw the fight. It was just a payday. It was all rigged. And I was like, or hear me out. He's a 58-year-old man and just doesn't have the energy to match a 28-year-old. Doesn't that make more sense than the conspiracy theories about the fight being thrown? I did appreciate though that Jake Paul, I don't know how good he is as a boxer. I've never paid any attention to this man. I literally did not know his name before this fight, so I have no context for him whatsoever. I assume he's a halfway decent boxer for Mike Tyson to even consider not even getting into the ring with him, but aligning his brand with this guy because Tyson don't need the money. Not that anybody doesn't need an extra 20 mil, but like Tyson has a weed company that does really, really well. I read it was worth like 10 mil. Like he's all right. And Tyson said as much. He's like, I don't need the money. He's like, I did it for the love of the sport. I feel like Tyson could be very Marshawn Lynch and be like, Mike, why are you doing this? And he'd be like, because it's a payday, because they paying me 20 million. Mike would just say that. I appreciated that in the ring, when Jake Paul realized that Tyson was essentially tired, that he couldn't keep up with him, and there was still like more than half the fight to go, he could have been a real dick and like fucked up Tyson. He could have punched him a 50 million times in the face. He could have knocked him down. It could have been a very brutal fight that had to be stopped. And I appreciate that he had enough sense and decency, and I think it's his best for his overall career. Because, like, what do you gain by being like, yeah, you beat up Mike Tyson at 58 and you're 28? Like, you're an asshole. Like, you beat up an elderly man. Not that 58 is elderly. I'm just saying, like, to 28. But I appreciated that he didn't pummel him. And then also, when the fight was over, and as I expected at that point, the win was called for Jake Paul, that the first thing out his mouth was to honor Mike Tyson. He was like, you're my father's favorite boxer. It was an honor to be in the ring with you. Like he just went on and on, like very effusive praise. And I respected that he respected Tyson and didn't treat him like shit. His brother, on the other hand, Jake Paul's brother, was like massive dick, needs PR training. But Jake Paul had really good PR training. I said this on Threads and somebody was like, stop. Don't say all that nice shit about him. He's MAGA. And I was like, oh, he said something after the win. He was talking about like America's in a great state. Everybody's happy again. And I was like, oh, he must have voted for Trump. I had an inkling, but then they were like, don't praise him too much. So I'm not giving praise overall to him because I told you I have no context for him. But in that moment, in the ring, while they were boxing, and then afterward, I appreciate that he didn't go in on Mike Tyson, and I appreciate that he showed respect. Riddle me this, though. Why is he fighting this old man? To him, I don't think 58 is old. There was a time that I did. Now I don't. Okay. But why is this 28-year-old fighting this 58-year-old? Like, is it just for like sheer branding? I understand why Netflix would want to fight because it builds it as like, oh, we're doing this live event with Jake Paul. I'm not tuning in for that shit. But like, oh, Mike Tyson, like that's a worldwide name. Like, I get it. Like, is that what Jake Paul does? Like, he builds his brand by affiliating with like much bigger brands? It's not a bad strategy. It's just weird. I'm like, what do you gain? Is boxing his full-time thing? Like, as a boxer, I don't respect you anymore as a 28-year-old for fighting a 58-year-old man. You fight like a 32-year-old. Okay, you fight like a 25-year-old, 22-year-old. Okay, all right. But like you fighting a 58-year-old man and you won, it would be a sad day in your life if you fought a 58-year-old man, even if the 58-year-old man was Mike Tyson and didn't win. But I'm just like, I don't understand what he gets out of it. Name recognition? Because I didn't know his name before this. But nothing he's selling am I going to purchase. But obviously, I'm not the core audience for, boxing or even like MAGA shit. So maybe it was to promote his brand to the MAGA following. Like, I don't know. The half of America that's holding all Americans hostage to crazy shit around the world. I say all that to say, I tuned in to watch that damn fight. I had to eventually watch it on my phone because I was trying to watch it on Wi-Fi and it kept fucking buffering. Apparently 63 million people tuned in to watch that fight, which I was like, that's real cute. Beyoncé on Christmas Day is going to double, if not triple that. Netflix does not have the capability to stream a Beyoncé performance without it buffering as of last week. What server updates, what extra equipment do y'all need to buy? What satellites do y'all need to put in the sky like some cranes? You got to do something. Don't fuck up Beyoncé. People are giving him grace over this Tyson thing. I don't think there were mass cancellations of Netflix over the buffering with Tyson. You fuck up Beyonce, people will leave your ass. I'm just saying, don't fuck this up, Netflix. Don't fuck it up. This year, I am thankful for good health and Lumi whole body deodorant. Why? Because Lumi is a deo like no other. It was created by an OBGYN who discovered BO isn't just an underarm thing, it's an all over thing. So she developed a pH optimized deodorant that's clinically proven to block odor everywhere, not just your pits, but your private feet and beyond. The best part, no matter where you use it, Lumi is proven to keep working for up to 72 hours. If 3 days of odor control isn't something to be thankful for, I don't know what is. I love my Lumi deodorant. I use it year round, even during heat waves. Lumi comes in some of my favorite scents, like clean tangerine, lavender sage, which is my current favorite, and toasted coconut. Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, two free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. Use code RATCHET15 for 15% off your first purchase at lumideodorant.com. That's code RATCHET15 at LUMEDEODORANT.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. We've all hit a point where we've realized it was time to make serious money moves. Take control of your finances by using a Chime checking account with features like no maintenance fees, fee-free overdraft up to $200, or getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Learn more at chime.com/ratchet. I love Chime because it's a financial institution with a sense of community. Get spotted on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. And like I said, no monthly fees or maintenance fees. What I love so much about Chime is it makes it easy to keep your money and access it, especially with over 50,000 fee-free ATMs. Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/ratchet. That's chime.com/ratchet. Chime feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank North America or Stride Bank North America. Members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. Let's see. What else do we have on our list? I'm going to celebrate this one first. We get to the next one. You're going to forget about this one. I want to get this black man celebration on his job. Craig Melvin over at NBC. He's going to replace Hoda Kotb. Remember we talked about Hoda was leaving the network? So Craig Melvin, he's already over at NBC. I don't really watch morning TV like that, but he's a nice looking black man. He puts his suit together. He has a good tailor or a good stylist. He puts his shit on. He's clean cut. He got a good barber. He got a cute face. He's a nice looking man. Looks well fed, well nourished. Did I tell y'all about that? I had a doctor's appointment in June, and the doctor's one of my friends. She puts all the paperwork and all her notes and stuff. She puts it into the portal, the medical portal. But she just tells me whatever I need to know. When I came here, I had to go to the doctor again. And she was like, there's no sense in me redoing what you just had done in June. So can you send me the medical records of your doctor's appointment from June? So I was like, sure, no problem. So I go and pull up the notes. My friend described me as well nourished, well fed. And I was like, did you just call me chubby on the love? And I asked about it on Facebook. half the people that responded were like, yo, she loves you, but like, you may need to go to the gym, sis. And then the other half was like, no, she's just saying that, she's commenting on your overall condition, that you were well nourished, you were well fed, you look healthy. Not that you look healthy in a way that, Black people be like, oh, that's a healthy woman. Like, just saying you look healthy. Like in pictures, you don't look like, you don't spend enough time at the gym. You look healthy. I've adopted the optimistic definition of how she described me. So when I look at this picture of Craig Melvin and I say he looks well nourished, well fed, I mean that he looks healthy. That's it. He's not a thin man. He's not a fat man. He looks like a man who exercises. He just looks, well nourished and well fed. I don't mean no kind of shade for it. I'm going to post the picture on my socials so you can see him. I'm reading this on Us Weekly. A source tells Us Weekly, Craig is so awesome. People were cheering when they got the staff email that he got the job. They said he's the best. Everybody is so excited for him. And then another source said he is truly one of the nicest, most humble, generous people. People are overwhelmingly happy for him. The good God won. Craig Melvin is 45. He is easy on the eye. Did I say that? When does he start? It doesn't say when his start date is. I'm still scrolling in the article. It says Melvin's previous experience played a major role in getting the new gig. He's done the Olympics. He's done presidential interviews. He's covered big stories out in the field. Oh, an important part. It says, with the new title, come on and cut the check, NBC. It says the source estimates that Melvin will make around $5 million or $6 million American USD dollars and dineros in his new role. Get your money, Black man. Get your monies. Oh, good for him. Congratulations, Craig Melvin. Let me scroll back up. He got his hand in his pocket. I can't see if he got a ring on. That's none of my business, though. I was just checking. Hold on. You know what I'm searching for. You know ain't shit. Craig Melvin, wife. Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. His wife ain't a Michelle Obama. But congratulations to him, nevertheless. Let's move on. Oh, congratulations to one of my babes. She listened to the podcast. Congratulations to my dear, dear friend, and I guess colleague, business partner. She takes good care of me. Juanita Slappy over at Cadillac, a.k.a. the people that have me down at ABFF, have me kikiing all over the place. Thank her. She made the list for Essence Power 40. Congratulations to my sister friend. There's a bunch of folks on this list. Let me also offer a general congratulations to all of the people that are on the Essence Power 40 list. Congratulations to all of them, because I'm not naming all these Black people. There's one thing we go through, like the Grammys and the Oscars. We got to talk about like the same 10 Black people. I'm not reading 40 names. I love the Blacks. No. What else do we have on our little list here? Oh, so everyone and their mom sent me news stories about Megan Good and Jonathan Majors being engaged, and they announced it on the red carpet of the Ebony 100. We've talked about Megan and Jonathan and their relationship. Megan has said that this is the happiest that she's ever been. Jonathan, I think that was doing his one sit down interview after the trial was over. He said that he was thinking about marriage, and if it was going to be anyone, it would be Megan. Okay. That has now come to fruition. He asked, she answered. She was smiling with all of her teeth, as was he, on the red carpet. She was flashing a big ass ring. She looked happy. She looks real happy. That's all that I've ever wanted for our cousin Megan. And safe and unbeaten. I want that for our Megan. I want her to be treated well. I want her to be in a happy relationship. I think people are expecting me to say some real hater shit about their relationship, their pending nuptials, their marriage. I've said all I have to say. I will repeat what I've said before. Sis, if you ain't happy, you can always leave. You can come home, and we've left the light on. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. There's always going to be some aunties among us to be like, girl, I told you so. They know because they've been through crazy shit. They're a little bitter about it. They can't let it go. There's another set of aunties that's like, girl, this is some bullshit. Just come on home. I didn't do the dumb shit I did for you to turn around and do my dumb shit. Come on home. We'll get you back together, get you right, send you back out into the world. If you need to come home, you always can. We have left the light on. If you can't make it home, you call us and we'll come get you, sis. That's it. That's all I got to say. She grown. She grown. Megan Good is over 40. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm going to take a sip now and I'm going to move on to the next topic. Oh, Cher has a book coming out. Do y'all care about this Cher book? I do. The most impressive thing to me about Cher for years was those Bob Mackie dresses, which I only got into because Diana Ross wears them in Lady Sings the Blues. And then I went down the Bob Mackie rabbit hole and landed on Cher because she has like nothing but Bob Mackie dresses. And I was like, oh my God, this woman is amazing. I can name you probably 2 Cher songs. I Got You, Babe. And the one about I Believe in Life After Love. I guess that was like the 90s. And everybody was like, why is this woman old as dirt walking around in like no clothes? And I'm like, do you see her body? Why would she put on any clothes at all? She really should just walk around stark naked. I mean, I would. I am goo gobs excited about this memoir just from the stuff that I've read so far. One, it's a 2-part memoir. The first part of it just came out and it's big, fat, and thick. How many pages is it? Hold on. Oh, it is on Kindle. For some reason, I want this book as a hardcover. Does it say? You know how I am. I get hung up on weird shit sometimes. I was like, why does it keep telling me how long it is as opposed to telling me how many pages? 432 pages. And that's just part 1. So the reason I'm really into this memoir is because I've been reading the 14 craziest excerpts, the 10 craziest things Cher reveals in this memoir. She has lived a life like Sheila Johnson. Her mom got married 5 or 6 times. So she had a bunch of different stepfathers. They were always moving around. Her mom was an actress, more aspiring than actual, had roles here and there. Cher loses her virginity at 14. She ends up on a date with Warren Beatty. In all the articles, it says teenager. It gives me the sense that she was underage because she ends up with Sonny, as in Sonny and Cher, like her husband, when she's somewhere around like 16. So Warren Beatty's got to be before that. There's an article on Jezebel, and the headline is Cher's memoir confirmed Sonny Bono, she's married to him 6 years, was in fact a piece of shit. And in the subhead, this is the article from yesterday, it says, Sonny told me he was sorry for cheating, but insisted I was to blame for not having enough sex with him. I was like, that tells me everything I need to know. I was like, oh, you were married to a gaslighting motherfucker. Oh, okay. All right. I'm reading this again on Jezebel. Despite their 11-year age gap, with Sonny obviously being older, Cher describes him as, quote, childish. She says when she moved in with him, they slept in twin beds, and he told her not to worry about him trying anything because, quote, honestly, I don't find you particularly attractive. And again, he met her when she was 16 years old. Cher describes their marriage as, quote, and unquote, loveless. She says, quote, I was dizzy with loneliness. I saw how easy it would be to step over the edge and simply disappear. This is her talking about how she thought about committing suicide multiple times while married to him. She says Bono wasn't just controlling, but Machiavellian. She said things became so bad that she confessed that she wanted to sleep with a man in their band. Sonny asked her, how long do you think you'll need? She responded, 2 hours. Jezebel editorialized, and that, friends, is why she's an icon. It says sometime after having sex with another man, Bono removed her wedding ring while she was half asleep, and he told her, America will hate you for breaking us up. And she said after that is when she learned that he had been unfaithful to her for much of their marriage. So she wanted to get a divorce from him, and she said she couldn't make a clean break. At that point, they'd had a child. I think that's Cher's only kid, but they were doing the Sonny and Cher show, and she had a contract with him. She had signed this contract, but she had never, either she didn't read the fine print or she didn't understand the fine print. So she was trying to get out of the marriage. She goes to talk to her lawyer, and she discovered that her husband owned 95% of her company, Cher Enterprises, and his attorney owned the other 5%. She couldn't even sign a check or withdraw money without Bono's signature. She says once she found out, she was like, I couldn't fathom that this was true. How could Sonny do this in good conscience? He'd been everything to me, and for some time, I'd been everything to him. That's some real trifling shit for your husband to do to you. People have been murdered for less. Not that I condone it. I'm just saying, I understand it. She said when she was eventually ready to leave Sonny, she found comfort in Lucille Ball because their situations were similar. Wait, what? I need to read up on Lucille Ball. I don't know her story. It says Ball, too, had co-starred on a show with a philandering ex-husband. Oh, dear. Cher says, I told Lucy I wanted to leave Sonny, and you're the only one I know that's ever been in the same situation. What should I do? Cher says, Ball didn't mince words. Fuck him. You're the one with the talent. I need to pick up Lucille Ball's book just on GP. She has a book, right? She's got to have a book. Let's see. I'm now reading on She Knows. It says, while fans may think they know their Hollywood story, Cher, 78, is sharing a darker side to her 9-year marriage. 9? I thought it was 6. Okay, go with 9. They know better than I do. They've read the memoir. Okay, this part is talking about the compensation issues. And Cher says, I'd worked my whole life, yet apparently I had nothing to show for it. I'd never for a second imagined that I needed to protect myself from Sonny of all people. Yet the contracts he had me sign were secretly designed to strip me of my income and the rights to my own career. She went on to say the emotional damage from that aspect of their marriage is something that's been hard to reconcile, even after Bono's death in 1998. She says, for years, I racked my brain on how he could have done what he did, and still I can't get over it to this day. Again, she's 78. She was with him when she was in her 20s. Some betrayals just stay with you. Like, you can forgive, you can move on, but the forgetting of it all, or just the why, stays with you for a while. It does say her relationship with Sonny softened over the years, and they reconciled in friendship, which I was like, how? Also, being married, even to somebody you eventually like are desperate to divorce, like, it's complicated. It's so fucking complicated. She did the eulogy when he died. Really? She said she'd forgiven him over time. She credited him with creating Sonny and Cher, and she called him, quote, the most unforgettable character I've ever met. He also treated her like pure D shit. But again, it'd be complicated. It'd be complicated. Life be complicated. Okay. I cannot wait to read this memoir. I didn't realize it was 400 some odd pages, but I still want to read it. And this is only part 1 of the memoir. I wonder how far up it goes into her life. Surely the part about dating Amber Rose's ex. As irrelevant as Amber Rose is, to be known as Amber Rose's ex has got to be. But you know what? I know who he is. He don't know who I am. So let's put that in perspective. But still, Amber Rose's ex, which I have no real critique for. He's grown folk and so is she. It's not like he's a spring chicken. She knows why he's there. He knows why he's there. They look happy. Good for them. I cannot wait to read this memoir. With the seasons changing, I'm already dreaming of a warm weather getaway. I love using points for travel, and I'm always looking for ways to earn more to book my next flight. Here's a life hack for you. Built lets you earn points on rent payments and redeem them towards flights, hotels, and a lot more. One of your biggest investments should get you more than a roof over your head. Let me explain. There's no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and on your everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world that you can redeem your Built points toward. Points can also be redeemed toward a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not? I love how easy Built makes it to do something necessary to enjoy something extraordinary. Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/ratchet. That's JOINBILT.com/ratchet. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/ratchet to start earning points on your rent payments today. As chilly evenings set in and holiday decor lights up our homes, Home Chef is delivering new hearty recipes and your favorite comfort foods that pair perfectly with a cozy evening. Home Chef delivers fresh ingredients and chef-designed recipes conveniently to your doorstep to simplify your cooking experience. Users of leading meal kits have rated Home Chef #1 in quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. Whether you prefer classic meal kits with pre-proportioned ingredients, quick 30-minute recipes, oven-ready options, microwave meals, or a dedicated family menu, Home Chef has everything you and your family need for hassle-free, delicious dinners. My favorite thing about Home Chef, in addition to the very good meals, is that it's economical. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 18 free meals plus free dessert for life. And of course, free shipping on your first box. Go to homechef.com/ratchet. That's homechef.com/ratchet for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/ratchet. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. I watched two really good things. I watched Cross on Amazon, which, to be very, very honest with you, I had no intention of watching, only because I remembered when Tyler Perry played this role and I didn't watch it. I remember the criticism of it being so awful. It was supposed to be a two-part, and I read that they canceled the second part because people thought the first one was so awful. When I hear Cross, Alex Cross, the character, I was thinking Tyler Perry. I didn't realize until after this came out, and then after I watched the whole series and then went back to research it, that Morgan Freeman had also played this role as well. The current Cross, it's on Amazon, is starring Aldis Hodge, who I'm sure has been in 50 million things, but I only remember him from Underground. Fine ass. I love that show. I was so mad it got cut. That's one of those things I will never get over. That was some good ass TV. It was also kind of like a soap opera about slavery, but it was still a good ass show. So Aldous Hodge found his way over to Amazon. The series is really good. I saw people raving about it. There are certain people whose opinions on TV, film, music that I really rely on heavy. They say it's good, then I'm like, okay, well at least I'll watch the pilot and see. But they were raving about this show. They were like, oh my God, I started watching. Like I had to binge it all the way through. I was up all night. So I started watching. It took me like 4 or 5 tries to get into it. I would be watching and then I get distracted and I started doing something else, which is always a sign that I'm not really invested or really interested in the show. So kept pushing because I was like, all these people keep raving about it. Everyone keeps talking about how good it is. Let me just actually like put my phone down and actually focus and watch it. I don't really have anything to say that's like strongly critical of it. It hits all the right notes. There's a lot of plot, there's a lot of characters. It makes sense, but it just didn't gel for me until somewhere around like the 4th episode. And I was like, what? Wait, what? And then it really started going. I think that's when we get more into like the don't want to give it away. This is a non-spoiler review because the show just came out, but somewhere around episode 4 is when it takes off for me. And once it takes off, like it goes crazy. Can I give you one tiny spoiler? One tiny, tiny spoiler. It's not really a spoiler because it happens in like the first episode and like the first part of the first episode. There's a girlfriend and it just doesn't make sense. Once you watch the first 10 minutes of the show, you'll be like, wait, a girlfriend? It makes more sense toward the end. She comes in handy as a plot device later on, but that just really threw me off the whole time. And then the ending is a little. You ever watch something that's like good, but it just won't end? I was like, okay, I need y'all to wrap this up in a bow because now you're starting to do crazy shit. Like there's a resolution. to me, it just wasn't a satisfying resolution. You know how, like, oh, I want to make this comparison, but if I say too much, no, can't. We got to stop talking about it because I really want to like talk, and I can't. But it's very much worth the watch. Aldis Hodge looks fucking amazing. People keep talking about him. I was like, pause, 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 pause. The Old Spice guy, not Deon Cole, the other Old Spice guy. Because, you know, Aldis Hodge is like a big dude. And he's not just like a big dude on TV. He was walking around ABFF last summer. Like, he is a larger than average human. But he's like, you know, walking around looking all large and wide back, which is very different from big back. Like, he just looking like manly, like just prowling around, just like, ah. Okay. He has a moment. And then the Old Spice guy, Isaiah Mustafa, I had to look up his name because I was like, let me not call this man the Old Spice guy the whole episode. But y'all know who I'm talking about. He looks better now than he did in the Old Spice commercials. And he looked nice in the Old Spice commercial. So Aldis Hodge is walking around like being all like wide and whatnot, right? And then the Old Spice guy runs up on him and he towers over him. And I was like, wait a minute. That's a balanced breakfast right there. That's a big boy. He's charming as fuck and big. Just a big old boy. And it's like, oh, hello. The show made me homesick a little bit. Like, it's based in DC. Very little of the plot actually has to do with DC, but they have like all these shots. You know how Scandal, they just used to have various shots of DC to like give the show a sense of setting, even though most of it was shot in LA. That's not the point. The point is, I was watching the montage of DC and I was like, oh, home. And they didn't do just like the usual stuff. Here's a picture of the Capitol. Here's a picture of the monument. Here's a picture of the mall. Look at Lincoln. They did like Ben's Chili Bowl. They did a couple murals that are in random places around the city that you actually got to be paying attention to like actually see. And I was like, oh, they had a black person shoot this. Okay. Definitely somebody from DC was involved, at least on getting those shots. Everything else, they had backyard band, not even just like, you know, as music, but actually like backyard band was in a scene. And I was like, oh, okay, they tried. They're trying to give some authenticity. Every time they go to a restaurant, they end up eating a Ben's Chili Bowl, which I think I've eaten that once. And there's nothing wrong with Ben's Chili Bowl, like nothing. I only ate there once, I think, in my entire lifetime. And I was probably in my early 20s. A guy I really liked took me there. That's not the point. The point is, whoever did the music, it was really good. They kept playing this Shaka Khan song. I used it as the music on my latest Instagram post because I just could not stop listening to that song. And when I posted it, somebody was like, oh my God, I was listening to this because I was just watching. And I was like, me too. It's so good. I want to tell you so much more about it because I have thoughts. I have so many thoughts, but it's too early to spoil it. I also watched the Shyne documentary. I believe it came out yesterday on Hulu. I said we weren't going to go into details about it until Friday, and I'm going to keep that. I took like extensive notes on the documentary, and then I went and watched. He did an interview on The Breakfast Club that's like an hour and a half. It's on YouTube. I watched that as well to give more context. He basically gave away the whole documentary on The Breakfast Club interview. He gave a little bit more context. Shyne is a living testament, he said, to the belief of criminal justice reform. He said the idea that, you know, where I was as a 19, 20-year-old who gets locked up for 8.5 years in prison, gets deported for 13 years, and then goes on to be in a position where he could be prime minister of Belize. Actually, when the documentary was recorded, he was trying to be prime minister. Is he prime minister now? Prime Minister Belize. No, he's currently not the prime minister. Johnny Brasino? I need to go to Belize. That was one of my huge takeaways after watching the documentary. Because Shyne kept talking about, like, it's an undiscovered paradise. Like, you must see it. It's a hidden paradise. It's a hidden paradise. And I was like, I kind of want to see this paradise for myself. Who has a place down there? Is it Francis Ford Coppola? I think has a place in Belize. I have another, well, a friend at one point who goes to Belize a lot. And she was always raving about how great Belize was. It's been in the back of my head for a minute. I looked it up last night and I was like, what is the Belize situation looking like for the holidays? Since I'm returning to East America, you know, I'm not going to sit still for very long. My mother's going to try to force me, but that's a whole nother story. 100% will be home for Christmas. After that, who knows? That's not the point. The point is, Shyne is a living testament. He says criminal justice reform. I say it's kind of in the same vein, but to the power of transformation. You can totally decide to be someone else and go be that. It also takes money and funding, but it can be done. It is possible. Nobody who was paying attention to Shyne back in 1999 thought he would end up as a politician in a position to possibly lead his nation. No one, absolutely no one. His father was the prime minister, and still no one. But he was 19 then, and I didn't realize Shyne and I were like damn near the same age. I thought he was at least 5 years older than me, and I was like, oh shit. And learning that while watching the documentary just gave me a lot more context for him. And I also didn't realize how young he was with all that shit with Diddy and the nightclub happened. He was 19, maybe 20. Have you seen this challenge online? It's called the Breaking My Heart Challenge. And people are posting pictures of their parents from back in the day. And they're like, oh, my mom used to break hearts back in the day. So I wanted to make one of those. So I'm digging through this box of pictures and I'm like, is this really like the best way to organize the family photos in giant boxes in the basement? I found a solution from our friends at Legacy Box. You're going to love Legacy Box. Every day, your home movies and photos are slowly fading away. They fade away in closets or worse, break down because of the dampness of your garage or heat in your attic or wherever you're storing your photos. Well, right now, you can easily access those memories and protect them forever for 50% off with code RATCHET. Legacy Box is easy. Load Legacy Box with your old tapes, film, and pictures and send it back. You'll get it back on a thumb drive or cloud, ready to watch and easy to share. It's so simple. It's like magic. Our family photos, I'm talking about my baby pictures, all my parents' stuff, and my grandparents' stuff. They were all stored in boxes in the basement. The idea of something happening to all that history, oh my God. I'm so glad I found Legacy Box to keep my family's history safe. For a limited time only, you can visit legacybox.com/ratchet and save 50%. That's legacybox.com/ratchet to shop 50% off. This sale won't last long. Legacybox.com/ratchet. This is not in the documentary. This is in the Breakfast Club interview. He said people speculated that Puffy had paid him to take the fall. He was like, that never happened. He was like, it's more than Puffy just tried to defend himself. He said he put people on the stand intentionally that threw Shyne under the bus. So Shyne gets out of prison. Maybe 3 years after he's out, he goes to Paris to meet Puff for something or another. And Cassie is there. He says he's with them for the day and he watches Puff spend like $500,000 buying random shit for Cassie on this like epic shopping spree or whatever. He says later they're talking about, the past and everything that happened. And Diddy is like, that shit was the lawyers. That wasn't me. Like, I wouldn't do that to you. Like, I would never treat you that way. He was like, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Puff says he wants to make it right. So Shyne was like, I'm thinking, okay, he's about to offer me some money. And he was like, in my head, I'm thinking like minimum, like 3 mil. And I was like, nigga, that's it. He's like, I don't know, 30, 31 at this time. Me personally, I would think like maybe like a mil per year for time served. And then maybe some extra, maybe another 500,000 a year for the time I've been deported. Let's make it an even 10 mil just for jail. But what about all the lost income from him not being able to make albums or not being able to tour? He was locked up by the time his first album dropped. So he couldn't tour off any of that. And I was like, maybe like an extra 10 mil for all of that. So like a solid 20 mil. Like what price tag could you really put on losing your 20s or any decade of your life, really? Shyne said Puff offered him 50,000 American USD dollars in dineros. 50,000. 50,000. Hold on. I got the calculator out. 365 divided by 2 equals, okay, 182.5. And then 365 times 8 equals plus, just add 180. He was in jail for 3,100 days. He offered him $1.60 per day that he was in jail. 8.5 years, $1.60 per day is $50,000. That's what he offered him. $1.60 per day. He should have punched him in the face for that shit or shot him. Shit. Like, really? Shyne says I was insulted. You should have been. Oh. Is there anything else in this documentary? I don't want to give too much away. There's a whole bunch of shocking shit, which I was like, you dated who? And then she also dated who? Shit we just didn't know in the 90s, early 2000s. We didn't have social media yet. By the time Shyne gets locked up, do we even have YouTube? We didn't have TMZ. We like still had like the Drudge Report and shit. We still had paper magazines. I used to write for them. After he gets locked up is when I moved to New York and go to J school. That's why I don't remember like a whole bunch of this stuff. I wasn't in journalism mode yet. And actually, now that I think about it, part of it, I was living overseas. I was living in London. Ah, there's so much I want to say. But really, really, really great documentary. I highly recommend. There was only one part of it where I was like, nigga, what? Like you trying to justify the unjustifiable. And it wasn't even about his own behavior. His father wasn't involved in his life, at least in the early part of his life, for various reasons. It comes up in the documentary. I'll let you watch it and figure it out. But I thought the same thing watching this documentary that I thought watching Meg's documentary. Meg at one point in the doc says, and this is after like the Tory Lane shit, she was like, I wouldn't be going through none of this if my mom was here. I thought the same thing about Shyne. I was like, if your dad was involved in your life, and your dad also being like the prime minister of Belize, you wouldn't be involved in any of this shit. He may or may not have been a rapper, but he definitely wouldn't have been caught up in that Diddy shit. Not that having a present father is a cure-all for all that ails, but having a decent father, it doesn't stop all the bullshit, but it can kind of cut it in half, which is half the battle. At one point, he's talking about himself and his relationship with his father, which is non-existent for most of his childhood. And instead of just saying it like, yeah, like it fucked me up, he starts talking about like the process of sea turtles and how like they deliver the babies on the beach and the babies have to like crawl alone over the sand to get to the water. And like they have to learn and figure it out all on their own. Like they're hatched and then they're like abandoned and they have to like learn the way on their own. And so, you know, he's like a sea turtle. And I was like, nigga, that's the process of sea turtles. You a whole human. Your daddy should have been there to guide you. The way it's supposed to be is the two people who created you are there to guide you. So you're not just like a newborn baby having to learn to figure out everything on your own. And I was like, yeah, you need therapy. The other thing about this documentary, I can tell you this without spoiling anything because it's literally not in there. I watched the whole documentary. There is not one mention of Shyne's wife or child in the whole documentary, which it's a documentary about, you know, his life, his professional life, essentially. You could not make a documentary about a woman without mentioning her relationship to some man. It will never happen. Every documentary that I've ever watched about a woman, even if it's like a throwaway line, like Toni Morrison's documentary, she mentions once, like, I was married and like, that's it. But like women don't get to make documentaries without talking about marriage, relationship, children in some capacity. Shyne's documentary never mentions his wife. It never mentions his kid. His wife and kid are shown in the distance. At some point in the documentary, they also zoom in on his wedding ring. He's got a big gold ring, so you know he's somebody's husband, but it never comes up. It's about his origin story, being in Belize, his mom moving to the States, him eventually moving to the States, his life in the States, signed to Bad Boy, goes to jail, gets out of jail, deported back to Belize, and then like he goes wandering around Israel for a while trying to find himself, which is he didn't get the wandering years to find himself in his 20s because he was locked up for 8.5 years. So he goes wandering around Israel for a couple years and then goes back to Belize and gets into politics. Never once during any of these excursions, other than like, he's like, oh yeah, me and this guy dated the same woman when he was like in his early 20s. That's the only real mention of a significant other in the entire documentary. And I was like, so you're going to have like a whole wife and a whole baby, and it's not going to be mentioned at all in the documentary. It made me think about how how easy it is for men to like decenter women in the narratives of their lives, but impossible for women. Like the Martha Stewart documentary. Like Martha Stewart, wasn't she one of like the first female billionaires? It's a documentary about the first female billionaire. And like so much of it is about her husband, her relationships, infidelities, his and hers, even though she kind of was like, Yeah, I kissed this man on my honeymoon. Like, and what? It was the moment. We got caught up in the moment. It wasn't infidelity. She's the first self-made female billionaire. Like, she didn't inherit it from an ex. She didn't inherit it from her daddy. She built it from the ground up. Why is her documentary so much about her personal life and not about like her business? Again, we don't make documentaries about women that don't somehow center the men in their lives. We don't. Is there anything else I need to talk about? I want to say so much more about the Shyne documentary. We might just do Friday's episode on it. The same way we did Meg's, like we went damn near scene by scene. We might have to do that with Shyne's because I have so many thoughts that I can't express them because I don't want to be an asshole and spoil it. All right. That's the important shit I have on my list. Apologies again that it was late. My work is getting in the way of my work again. I do better. I try at least. All right. We'll be back on Friday. Talk soon. Bye.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.